Hello everyone, welcome to our case analysis presentation. We will be analyzing the company River Green Industry, Sandarian Berhad. Our group will start with financial data and combine with cash flow budgeting and ethical reflection. Evaluate the company's future sustainability. Our presentation will be divided into the following six parts. Let's move on to the first part, the introduction. River Green Industry is a medium-sized manufacturer in Malaysia, mainly producing industrial solvents, with a customer base primarily in the automotive and electronic industries. In recent years, the company has attracted widespread public concern and dissatisfaction due to the discharge of untreated wastewater and non-compliant labor conditions, which has severely damaged its reputation. After an internal audit, the company confirmed the extent of environmental and labor issues and announced that it would launch a series of compliance reforms starting in 2025. These reforms include installing wastewater treatment equipment, increasing employee wages, regulating working hours, and strengthening safety protections. However, at the same time, the company will also face significant cost pressures. Therefore, the question is, can the company remain profitable? This question will be further explored in our upcoming financial analysis section.
In this section, I will present my findings on River Green's break-even analysis, focusing on part A and B of question 1. Let's begin with the current situation in 2024. I calculate River Green's break-even unit is 1.5 million units in Table 1. Since the company sold 1.6 million units, which is above the break-even point, it earned a small profit of 400,000. This indicates the business was operating just slightly above profitability. Let's move to part B. The Table 2 can show the values when the company implements compliance measures. River Green's new break-even point become 1.85 million units because the additional cost of compliance like environmental and labor reform has raised the fixed cost from 6 million to 7.4 million. In other words, the company now needs to sell at least 1.85 million units just to break even. However, the company's current annual sales volume is still 1.6 million units, which is below the break-even point. That is to say, not enough sold to make a profit. If the company does not take any action such as increasing price or sales, it will lose about 1 million under the new cost structure. In conclusion, the compliance cost significantly raised the break-even point. Without increasing price or volume, River Green's current operations are no longer financially sustainable. Then we will turn to part C and D.
So here, we're evaluating whether the current sales are enough to keep the business running after the new costs are added in. Right now, River Green is selling 1.6 million units a year, but the new break-even volume is 1.85 million units. That means 1.6 million is clearly less than 1.85 million. In simple terms, the company isn't selling enough to cover its costs under the new cost structure. If nothing changes, it's going to start making a loss. So we need to take action, and that's what the next section will talk about. Let's compare two strategies to recover costs. Strategy A raises the price by 0.5 ringgit to 12.5 ringgit, with a higher measure of the 4.5 ringgit and the sales of 1.6 million units. The total contribution is 7.2 million ringgit. After the subtractions of fixed costs of 7.4 million ringgit, the loss is 2 million ringgit smaller than structure B. However, some customers made a resistant price increase. Structure B keeps the price at 12 ringgit but increased sales by 10% to 1.76 million units. With the full ringgit major, total contribution is 7.04 million ringgit. After the fixed costs, the loss became 306,000 ringgit. Plus, more production could cause labor pressure and quality issues. However, Structure A has lower risk and is more financially practical.
Thanks, Jing. So here I would like to introduce cash budgeting and complaint challenges. As a company mainly engaged in manufacturing, Rivergreen has currently faced two main challenges: non-compliant with environmental protection standards and compliant with labor costs. Therefore, it has made a commitment to replan to ensure environmental protection standards and ensure labor costs. Thus, this part aims to predict the cash flow for the 3 years from 2025 to 2027 and evaluate it, including the environmental protection standards and labor costs required to fulfill the commitment and their impact on the existing funds, analyzing whether there's a funding gap, and then proposing response strategies based on the company's situations and to ensure the company's sustainable development strategy, space, and operating. The following is the cash budgeting made based on the current situations of the company. From this, we can assess its financial operation sustainabilities due to the complaint cost and financial operating expenditures. There will be a significant cash flow pressures from 2025 to 2026, and it will be gradually recovered in 2027. Furthermore, we have proposed 3 strategies based on the brand image, existing problem, and future development. Firstly, increase costs from environmental protections and labor reforms, making every effort to maintain the brand image and protect the brand reputations. Secondly, due to the excessive short-term cash pressures and liquidity difficulties, we can try to obtain financing or loans. Finally, replan the price indicators of various products, enhance product reputations, and at the same time not abandon the promotional strategies to stabilize the customer loyalties. In summary, the company needs to manage and control its existing funds effectively to weather the 2-year period of funding shortage and cash flow pressures, and to seek a sustainable development strategy. Next, I'll pass it on Shui. She will talk about cycle evaluations.
I'm going to talk about how Rivergreen can solve its serious ethical problems while keeping the business financially stable. Rivergreen, an industrial solvent company, is facing serious ethical problems that threaten its future. The company polluted a local river by dumping untreated waste, killing fish and making the water unsafe. At the same time, they have been underpaying workers, only 1,200 ringgit per month, 300 ringgit below Malaysia's legal minimum wage of 1,005 ringgit. This mistake have damaged their reputation, and sales are expected to drop 2% in 2026 as customers lose trust. Fixing these issues will cost 1 million ringgit for environmental cleanup and 400,000 ringgit to properly pay workers. If Rivergreen tries to ignore these problems and just focus on short-term profits, They will face even bigger problems, more fines from the government, more angry customers leaving, and they might never achieve that predict 8% sales growth in 2027. It's like when companies try to save money by cutting safety equipment. It seems cheaper now, but when accidents happen, they ended up paying much more. Instead, they should take some key steps. First, face the fixes. Immediately raise wages to 1,005 ringgit, cost 400,000 ringgit, and split the cleanup into two parts, 500,000 ringgit this year and the rest later. Second, introduce slightly more expensive green products to attract eco-conscious customers. The extra income from these sales would cover most of the ethical company costs. In the end, doing the right things isn't just ethical, it's smart business. Fair wages and environmental responsibility rebuild trust, ensuring long-term success. Rivergreen's 2027 growth depends on solving this issue now. Good ethics and good profits go hand in hand.
Through our break-even analysis, we can see that after implementing compliance reforms, Rivergreen will face a significant cost increase, but it is a necessary step in the long run. Between the two recovery strategies, raising prices is more feasible than increasing sales volume. Although it may still result in slight losses, it carries relatively lower risk. In the cash budgeting section, we found that the company will face some short-term cash flow pressure, but with proper expense planning and the expected revenue growth, it still has the foundation for sustainable development. From an ethical perspective, Rivergreen's past failures in the environmental and labor issues have already caused significant brand and financial damage. If these issues continue to be ignored, the company will face even more serious legal penalties and the customer lose in the future. Here are my recommendations. First, implement compliance reforms in phase to ease financial pressure. Second, prioritize moderate price increase over blind capacity expansion to control risk. Third, launch environmentally friendly products to enhance brand value and customer loyalty. Lastly, strengthen communication with the public and customers to rebuild trust. That concludes all the content of our group presentation. Thank you for your listening.